Okay, so bienvenidos. Welcome to our webinar this evening. My name's Kelly Thornhill and this is Dawn Hilliard, and we're going to take you through our fabulous Spanish immersion trips. And let me just start off first of all by a little bit of housekeeping. We are going to go through a little presentation of myself and of Dawn, and then I'm going to run through really quickly some of the benefits of immersion trips. Then we'll get to the nitty-gritty, which is what you all want, which is the actual itinerary of our Learn Spanish and cooking tour in Malaga. If you see me looking over here, it's because I've got some notes here as well. And then at the end of the main section, we'll have some options for your next steps, and we'll open it up to any questions that you have. Okay, so I have put everybody onto mute, and I'd appreciate very much if you are going to be moving around to keep your camera off so that it doesn't disturb the meeting for anybody else. Right then, so let's begin. So my name is Kelly Thornhill. I'm a Spanish tutor. I've been a Spanish tutor for around 10 years now, and I am the owner of Adventures in Spanish, and it is really, really lovely to have you join us tonight. I'm fluent to native level in Spanish. I'm a two-time published bilingual author. I've published 2 books, children's bilingual books. This is a photo of me holding up the first one. Yeah, quite a nice funky photo, that quite like that one. Actually, I teach over 60 students a week, so I teach a range of classes for children and adults, beginners, advanced, mainly online, although I have started some local lessons here where I live in North Wales. I'm based in the UK now, but I used to live in South America. In fact, I lived there for 20 years, and I ran a travel agency that specialized in wine tours in Mendoza, Argentina. And Mendoza is just north of Patagonia. One of the things that we did within that travel agency was we organized destination weddings. So people who wanted to get married in a Spanish-speaking country would come to us, and we'd arrange everything for them on the ground in Mendoza. And I also manage Spanish immersion trips for groups of over 30 students. My main client was from the US, but I did organise other ones as well from the UK. That's where my absolute passion lies, when I can combine language learning and travel. So I'm absolutely delighted to be able to be offering this new service with Dawn. Speaking of Dawn, I will hand you over to Dawn so she can present herself, let you know a little bit about her.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Not as impressive a bio as Kelly, unfortunately. So I am a travel counsellor and a travel business owner based just outside Chester. And I am actually a property owner in Spain and have been for nearly 20 years. And I still don't know the language. So I'll be definitely tapping Kelly up for some of her skills and her tutoring. What I love doing is creating experiences for my client. I have access to very specialist suppliers who can really help create immersive experiences in a number of countries. And obviously we're focusing today on Spanish in Spain. Anything you book with me is completely ATOL protected. Travel Counsellors as an organisation has been around for 27, 28 years. The head office is in Manchester. Google us. We've got 5-star reviews on Trustpilot. So you're in safe hands with us. And I can do everything from the planning and management of the end-to-end experience, including all your flights, your transfers, accommodation. I'm available 24/7. So if there's ever any questions you've got, any problems you have when you're over there, you just pick up the phone. You have my mobile number. You have access to me pretty much all the time. So that is me.
Brilliant. And it's really interesting that, Dawn, as well, because that was one of the reasons that I reached out to you, not because of your brilliance not just because of your brilliance, let me reword that, of organising trips, but also because of the reputation of travel counsellors. I'm well aware of it. Yeah, so it's great. Brilliant. Really great to be running these tours with you.
Thank you.
So Spanish immersion holidays. What are they and what are the benefits of them? So I'm speaking from first-hand experience when I tell you that complete immersion in your target language is the way to go. It's the thing that boosts your language like nothing else can really. It improves your intercultural intelligence. So what does that even mean? basically, when you're immersed in a language, you're not just learning the words of the language, you're picking up all of the hidden signals as well of the language. Yeah, the culture behind it, the mannerisms of people, the looks, how the language is used in everyday life. And that's not obviously something that you can learn from a book or an app. And I know that many of you that are going to be watching this back on replay are already sold on the idea of Spanish immersion holidays. But just in case you are a little bit curious and not quite sure how they can benefit your language learning, well, this is the crux of it, really. When you're in the destination, learning the language at the same time, it helps you develop your thinking in the target language. So what do I mean by that? So, for example, if you want to know the word for an apple, you'll, in this country, you know, you'll grab your dictionary and you'll look up, right, okay, apple, and you'll work out that it's a manzana. See, my whole ethos really is about creative language learning. So rather than just looking up the word for an apple, you get creative and you look at, right, okay, the apple is una fruta, it's a fruit, es redonda, it's round, es verde, it's green, you know, and you have the time to explore the language more when you're immersed in it. And especially when you're surrounded with professional teachers, which is what the language immersion trips are all about. Responsible travel, well, everybody wants to travel more sustainably, and learning the language and having these immersive trips is the core of responsible travel. Because first of all, you're traveling in a smaller group, you're staying with a host family, if that's what you choose to do, and you're taken out into the community, which means that you're helping the local economy, you're shopping at the local shops, you're using your language locally, as opposed to, you know, the mass kind of tourism. And of course, Spanish immersion holidays are fun. I mean, there's no better place to have a little laugh at yourself than when you're immersed in a language and you're trying to work out the word for a manzana. Yeah, so you get creative with it, and you know, and not take it too seriously. For me, these are some fabulous benefits of our Spanish immersion holidays, or immersion holidays in general. But we're here to learn a little bit more about our Spanish and cooking itinerary in Malaga. And for this, I'm going to hand you over to Dawn. She's going to go through the itinerary, the accommodation, and a little bit of the travel information. After that, we will have a little section where we'll go through the options and your next steps, and also then we'll open up the Q&A. So Dawn, I'll hand it over to you, and yeah, I'll catch you in a few minutes.
Thanks, Kelly. So this is designed to give you a bit of an overview in terms of what your itinerary would look like. And ultimately, they have separated out your sort of lessons, where they'll do Monday to Friday in the morning. You'll have 4 lessons each morning, 45 minutes long. 2 of them will be focused on grammar and vocabulary, and 2 will be focused on developing your listening and conversation skills. And then 3 afternoons out of the 5 will be the immersive cooking experience. So straight away you can see that you'll have, you know, it's going to be, you know, hard going. You're quite busy, but you will also have some downtime, a couple of afternoons out of the week, and then evenings as well. So the classes will start at 9 AM, and they will, as I say, run through Monday to Friday, and the lessons will be split. So the choices are, you know, you will be assessed, and this is where the help of Kelly comes in, based on your current ability as to whether you sit within the beginner or whether you sit within the intermediate level of competency. So it's important that we get you in the right class. In the event that you're traveling with maybe someone else, or you might be traveling with family members or friends, then again, you will all be assessed individually. So in the event that you are traveling, maybe you're an intermediate stage and your companion is at the beginner stage, either A, Kelly will try and get your beginner up to an intermediate level so you can both go in the language lessons together, or on the trip you'll just both separate in the morning at 9 AM, go into your different lessons, but then you'll reconvene for the either your free afternoons or your afternoons from a cooking or cookery perspective. And the Spanish cooking lessons will last around 2 hours each, and they will typically be in the afternoon. So that just gives you a little bit of an idea of the schedule. So it's just to recap, Monday to Friday, starts at 9 a.m. They will confirm the exact times of the Spanish cooking lessons on arrival, but there is an assumption here that it will be on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so that there will be a cookery lesson on the Friday. And that just, when we talk about how many nights you'll need to be there, then that's just factored into that. So that's just a bit of an overview. The classes will take place in a local language school by qualified native tutors, which is really good and really exciting. And these language schools that they use are really well run. They've got really good, the providers that we use, they do their due diligence on these language schools before they sign them up. So you're in really good hands.
That's brilliant. Just going to jump in here, Dawn, because I think that's a really important point. First of all, one of the questions that I've been asked since I launched these, was what ability are the trips for? So we're clarifying there that depending on your ability, you need to be assessed really before Absolutely. You go, so that you know which group to go in, or that you can, if there is quite a difference between your language ability and the person or the people that you're traveling with, then you can actually go into separate lessons Absolutely. And then reconvene at lunchtime. So that's really great. And also, I'm heading over to Malaga in January. I'm going to be checking out the schools for myself and meeting hopefully some of the tutors. So absolute, complete 100% confidence in this, and I'm really looking forward to these to meeting them over there. So are you ready for the next? I'm
slide? Ready for the next slide. Let's go for it. So we mentioned that you will have a couple of afternoons and evenings in your free time, and basically the school will offer some optional excursions and some optional activities, such as tapas tours, paella parties. They might do some cultural excursions to the city's museums. You might just decide that you want to chill, Malaga is an absolutely stunning city. I think it often gets overlooked because people fly into Malaga and then go off onto Marbella or the Costa del Sol. And, even though we've had a property over there for nearly 20 years, I think the first time we actually went to Malaga to go and see it was probably about 12 years ago. So we'd been going, blindly for eight years and not really realizing what Malaga had to offer. And it's a stunning city. But you are right near the beach as well. So you might want to, just go and explore yourself, or you might want to just go and kick back at the beach with a cerveza or a vino blanco. But there will be some free time. So whilst it's quite jam-packed, there will definitely be some free time. In terms of where can I stay, so there's three options really with these trips. And you can, if you want to have what I would call a really, really immersive trip, this is probably the option that I would choose. It's to stay with a host family. I mean, what better? I mean, the Spanish are so, from hospitable, and Spanish cooking is amazing. So the option to stay with a host family, I think, is absolutely perfect. Some people might not feel comfortable doing that. You can stay in a shared apartment with other students and locals. So again, it's still quite immersive, but maybe not as intensive as staying with a host family. Or if you don't fancy either of those options, then we can arrange a conveniently located hotel or apartment near the language school, somewhere that's easy for you to get around for both Malaga and for the language school. So there's a few options there based on different people's sort of requirements.
Yeah, I stayed, my own personal experience of this was in Venezuela, and I stayed with a host family there. Well, I stayed there for a long time. I lived in Venezuela for a year, and for 3 of those months I stayed with a host family, and I was doing an intensive Spanish course as well, and I was teaching English also, and it's the little things. So in the evening, a couple of evenings, I would find myself sitting, with the mum, watching the telly, the Venezuelan program that she would watch. I wouldn't necessarily have a clue what was going on at that stage of my learning, but the experience and the conversations and the immersive, and they're so patient, and they're so, I think people that open up their homes for these kind of experiences, they're certainly a special person, aren't they? So,
and that's a really good thing to note, actually, Kelly, is that, that's what these people do. They're not doing it for the money. They're not doing it. They're doing it because they genuinely want to open up their home and help these students. So these host families will have been doing it for years. So, they make you feel really, really welcome.
Yeah.
And
Brilliant.
comfortable.
Wonderful. Shall I move on to the next slide?
Yeah, this is more of the so this is more of the, I guess, the small print, some more of the travel information. So this is just to give you an idea around the package costs. Now, they need to be personalised based on your departure airport, how long you want to go for, your accommodation preferences and dates, but these are just indicative prices. Now, as you can see, it's based on one traveller for 6 nights. So because your lessons will start at 9 a.m. on the Monday morning, they would expect you to fly in on the Sunday. So the 6 nights is assuming the Sunday to the Saturday, because again, the Friday might be a 4 p.m. finish. However, if you wanted to try, depending on the time of year that you were looking at, the flights to Malaga reduce significantly over the winter months. So from sort of November through to March time, they'll really scale back their schedules. But if there are flights that depart back to the UK or to your airport, your regional airport, on the Friday evening, you're probably looking at flights that go from sort of 7 p.m. onwards, and then you could do 5 nights. But these prices, just for illustration purposes, I guess, are for that 6 nights. So staying with the host family half board, £528 plus flights. That is such good value, bearing in mind that's 6 nights accommodation, that's half board, so that's your breakfast and your evening meal with a host family, and that includes obviously all your Spanish lessons, and that includes the cookery lessons and that sort of course element of what we've discussed. Shared apartment is not a million miles off, 516, again, plus your flights, and that's in a single room but with shared facilities. But that's on a self-catering basis. And then if you're looking for a hotel, this is very indicative, because obviously this will change quite dramatically depending on the time of the year, etc. But you're probably looking more around the 800 plus mark for a hotel for 6 nights plus flights.
Before you move on from there, Dawn, can I just say that one of the things that came up was whether people can book their accommodation and flights separately.
Absolutely.
But then we organise the classes and the activities. Is that an option for people? I don't know.
It is an option. So if someone wants to book their flights and accommodation independently, that's fine. One of the things that we offer as doing it all as a package is that full atoll protection. So if for example your flights got cancelled and you booked a package with us, and for whatever reason we couldn't find any flights that would get you to start the course on the day, and there was the risk that you couldn't do the course, that would all be covered from a refund point of view under atoll protection. If you book it all independently, you don't get that protection as such. Absolutely. However, absolutely, if someone has still got vouchers from the airline, for example, from the pandemic or anything like that, yes, that they can absolutely book their flights and accommodation separately. Okay. And we can give them a location of the language school as well if they wanted to get their accommodation that's sort of convenient for that.
Fabulous. That's really great. Thank you.
This is the boring stuff, travel requirements.
Just run through this bit quickly.
I'll run it through quickly. We're in a really good position now, touch wood, from a COVID perspective. So you don't need to be vaccinated or provide any negative COVID test to enter Spain. That's changed. That changed quite a while ago. That is correct as of the 9th of November. Things can change, but I'm hoping that we get a smooth winter and nothing goes backwards. Passport validity is important. Your passport can't be issued less than 10 years before the date you enter the country. Historically, if you applied for your passport and still had 9 months on it, they would add the 9 months. You'd have a passport for 10 years and 9 months. But they did change that, and they've changed the rules. So it's important to just check that. But your passport has to be valid for at least 3 months after the day you plan to leave. So again, I can help if anyone is unsure. It can get quite complicated, especially the 10-year thing. And like with any foreign travel, you need adequate travel insurance, which I can help you with if anyone needs it.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Makes me just want to jump on a plane and go straight away.
I was going to say, is it bien? Do I say bien?
Bien, muy bien. Yeah, muy bien, very
bien.
good. Yeah, yeah. If I say gracias, you say de nada. That's the way it kind of goes. So, what are your options after having watched this webinar? So, what we'll do is tomorrow I'll pop an email over to everyone with the detailed information about our Learn Spanish and Cooking in Malaga itinerary. I'll also pop some information on the options that I have available to help, that support you pre-trip and post-trip to help you get the most out of your immersive experience. And I'll pop a little link in that email as well, with a link to my Calendly, that's it, Calendly link. So you can book a 15-minute call with me if you're unsure what level you would be at, really. And we can have a quick chat and I can answer any questions that you've got about that. And also in that email, I'll include Dawn's contact details, so you can contact her directly with any questions that you've got that we haven't covered this evening. And if you'd like a personalized quote, like Dawn said, this itinerary runs throughout the year, from Monday to Friday, so dates are really flexible, and I know that she'd be absolutely delighted to receive any emails with any questions, requesting any quotes at all. So have a little think about what you'd like to get out of the webinar that you've just watched, or weigh your next steps on your own language learning journey. Yeah, are you ready to immerse yourself in the Spanish language yet? Or are you not sure? Either way, you can book a call with us and we'll answer all of your questions. I think that brings us to the end of the presentation, which is, of course, muchas gracias. Muchas gracias for joining us. What I'm going to do now is open it up for any Q&A. So I'll stop recording and we'll unmute anybody that's watching this back on replay. By the way, if you've got any questions, do feel free to contact me. These are my contact details. I can be contacted via email or on all the social media platforms, or just pop a comment underneath the video. I think this is going to go to YouTube, and I will happily get back to you with any questions or forward your email over to Dawn. Muy bien. Well, that's all that's left for me to say, really, I suppose, then, is muchas gracias. Muchas gracias, Dawn, for joining us. It's been really, really a fabulous experience. I'll stop recording here and open up for Q&A.